Hi, everyone, and welcome to Zacapa Resources live corporate webinar. This is Will Mays with RB Milestone. Joining us today is the company's CEO and director, Adam Melnik. We're going to discuss some current operations, recent achievements, and upcoming milestones. Zacapa is listed on the TSXV under the symbol ZACA and on the OTCQB under the symbol ZACAF, and also on the German exchange under the symbol BHO. At the end of this presentation, we're going to open it up for Q&A for management to address. And if you're interested in asking a question or logged into the Zoom app or web platform, you can submit your questions to us directly in the chat module. Please note that this presentation is being recorded today, December 8th, 2022, and will soon be made available on the company's website at zacaparesources.com. Today's call may contain forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results in performance or developments to differ materially from those contained in the statements and are not guarantees of future performance of the company. No assurances can be given that any of the events anticipated by forward-looking statements will occur, or if they do occur, what benefits the company will obtain from them. Also, some risks and uncertainties may be out of control of the company, and Zacapa has a full disclaimer contained in their presentation. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. For more information, please visit our website at rbmilestone.com. So, Adam, let's get right into it. It's been a little while since we had an update, so I think it might be helpful, especially for those investors who are newer to the Zacapa story. If you start with a little brief overview and history of Zacapa and its portfolio of projects, which I know are located in some of the top mining jurisdictions throughout the southwestern U.S. Maybe you could just tell us how the portfolio of projects came together.
Happily, Will. Thank you very much for hosting today. I hope everyone's having a very festive and safe and happy holiday season. I'm really looking forward to giving everyone an update here. We've been heads down, focused on execution and advancing our South Bullfrog project primarily. But really, the Zacapa journey started out about 2 years ago as a private company with an idea that we should be counter-cyclical during the pandemic and move into some established, mature mining jurisdictions and build out a portfolio of porphyry copper and epithermal gold projects in the Southwest US. And as a private organization, that's exactly what we executed on. And about a year later, early 2022, in January of this year, we entered the public markets. And it's obviously been a very volatile time to become a private company, but we executed a very exciting drill program at our Cornerstone Copper project in Arizona. And we're now in a position to start drilling at our Cornerstone Gold project in the Beatty district. And really our logic is to address the impending supply-demand deficit in the copper space in particular, and make new discoveries in established mature mining jurisdictions and support the society's challenge of decarbonizing and electrifying our world economies and securing domestic supply chains of critical and rare metals and minerals. So that's Zacapa succinctly, Will.
Oh, great. Well, thanks. That's very helpful. And, I think when investors look at the junior mining sector in general, it's often difficult to distinguish strategies one from the other. I mean, maybe you could help us how is Zacapa differentiated from some of the other exploration companies in the U.S.?
Absolutely. Thank you, Will. I think it's really important to note that this group has substantial momentum and pace. And when it is inspired and challenged to go and deliver on exciting exploration projects, we can move very quickly and be very effective with investors' capital. So I'm very proud of the fact that we've invested more than 80% of our investors' capital into the ground, advancing our exploration projects. This is what we've accomplished over the last 18 months as a team. We brought 6 projects into the company, raised almost $12 million to advance those projects, brought in some very key people, especially on the technical side, to advance those projects, executed and tripled the size of a drill program at a very compelling copper project in Arizona called Red Top, listed on 3 stock exchanges, and advanced 4 other exploration projects towards drilling in that period of time as well. So I would say this is our key differentiators. we move and we shake. And at a time when many of our competitors are sort of sitting on their hands in a lackluster capital markets environment, our group is being very creative, maintaining conviction and moving swiftly to generate very interesting drill targets in compelling districts where there's a clear path to crystallizing and creating values for our shareholders. So that's our key differentiator, Will.
Great, and as you just mentioned, it's been a very difficult year for the sector in general. Maybe you just give us a review of 2022 and how ZACAP has met these challenges, and please, highlight, give us some key successes as well.
Definitely, I think it's really important to remember that exploration is a challenging and risky business to be in, and that it's really good to have optionality within your portfolio. I think that's really been ZACAPA's strength here. So we had a technical success drilling at our Red Top project in Arizona, right next to Resolution, where we found chalcopyrite and bornite in our very first drill hole at that project, and tripled the size of that program, drilling kilometer deep holes at a challenging porphyry target, and found that mineralization consistently throughout those drill holes, not necessarily at economic ore grades, but established that there was mineralization when there was none at surface, but lots of good sign, including alteration and veining and QSP that looked very prospective, but had never been tested at depth. So, this project has had its own challenges. We're putting together all of the assays in an integrated report that we have right now to try and get a vector in on the closer to the core of that porphyry system. But there's potential that target may be too deep for ZACAPA to manage as an entity. So great example of some of the challenges that we've come across this year and managed effectively, Will. When it comes to successes, I think in the background, we've been very much like a duck on a pond. There's been lots of activity underneath the surface of the water. We've advanced our other exploration projects that have been quite rigorous and ruthless at times in evaluating our projects and either including them in the pipeline of exploration and progressing them towards drilling or removing them from our portfolio and crystallizing some value where possible. So I think that's the key is, well, the rest of the sector here is beaten up and lacking conviction. That's exactly what our team has, is immense conviction and has been focused on execution through a challenging period in capital markets with the faith that the market will improve. It's really important to see major moves in metal prices here into the close of the year. Gold is over $1,800 an ounce right now. Copper's within 10 cents of $4 per pound. I mean, that's effectively where we're pretty close to where we started the year, but many equities have traded off 50, 60, 70%. So we think this is a really compelling entry point, and it's evidenced in our team's support of the stock and purchases recently. We do have the conviction in our exploration journey and our projects and our team. So it's been an interesting year, Will.
Great. Well, thanks. That's very helpful. Maybe just give us a little more detail about the approach you've taken over the past year and how that's shaped the strategy and focus going forward.
Definitely. I'm learning more and more about the exploration business as I progress in this new role as CEO, Will. And I think it's important to be humble. We set out at the time of our IPO with a very rigorous and immense program. We were going to drill 5 projects in 18 months. And obviously it's important without any revenue and a top line as an exploration company to ensure that those drill programs are funded. And that requires a supportive capital markets environment. So we do have a plan to drill 4 projects in 18 months, not 5, but it has been very important for us to be very focused on where we can create near-term value with the drill bit. So I'm very happy to announce that we will be starting a drill program shortly at South Bullfrog. We've recently received drill permits there, and more than 80% of our investors backed our initial public offering and seed funding to see that project advanced in particular. So I think by focusing on operational excellence and executing on the ground and sort of decoupling our explorationists from the challenges in capital markets and just enabling them to go do their best possible work on some really compelling projects, is how we're going to create value in the long term, Will.
Great, thanks. And you mentioned South Bullfrog. Maybe you could give us a little more detail on that, and why should investors get excited about this project?
Yes, I mean, this is a testament to the capabilities of our technical team, Will, and our counter-cyclical strategy. So at a time when majors were pulling out of greenfields and grassroots exploration in the US and mature mining jurisdictions during the pandemic, that's precisely when our groups moved in. So we were very fortunate to stake some extremely compelling ground here in the Walker Lane Trend in Nevada, in the Beatty district, where it's very covertly AngloGold Ashanti has been consolidating that entire district, and it has really evolved. We've advanced this project very well over the last 18 months. We've spent more than $3 million doing grassroots exploration on this project. We've gone from staking this ground to having done multiple rounds of mapping, sampling, and geochem surveys. We've done 4 geophysical surveys out here, including mag and radiometrics, an IP survey, and gravity. And we now have a really strong theory about where potential gold mineralization lies at depth. We have the same faults and structures on our property that mineralized key deposits that were previously mined, such as the Bullfrog and Montgomery Shoshone pits that Augusta Gold now owns and is advancing towards production within the next 2 years. And also the North Bullfrog deposit that is now belongs to AngloGold Ashanti after its purchase of Corvus Gold. This is what we've discovered on our property as well, is that we have these same north-south striking faults that are hosting interesting mineralization, as well as the appropriate alteration you would want to see to generate gold mineralization at depth. And so importantly, with our IP survey here, we've lit up a number of areas where the alteration increases in both magnitude and intensity, and we're going to go test those with a drill, Will. So our investors have been very patient with us, but we didn't want to move quickly into this project and rush into a drill test. It took us 18 months and a lot of money to understand the potential here and where we should be really focusing those drills. So we're very excited to have received our first drill permit for this project, and we'll be starting a drill program shortly.
Great, thanks. And actually, as we're speaking here, an investor asked, about project costs. What price per meter are you paying at South Bullfrog?
This is why I think our strategy is the right one for the current macroeconomic environment. Well, with gold prices moving up and competitors, being lackadaisical or reducing their work programs, we're planning to increase. And the reason for that is that drill contractors are bidding very competitively on projects now, and some of their best people are available to come and execute with us. So cost for drilling RC out here is about $180 per meter, and that's down substantially from the previous 2 years during the pandemic, when drill availability and access to really good drill crews has been a key constraint for advancing exploration projects. So now is the time, Will, to go and generate some very interesting catalysts from the drill at South Bullfrog and have some drill results for investors in the first half of 2023.
Right. And regarding South Bullfrog and the Beatty district, and in general, your projects are located in jurisdictions where the majors are pretty active. Can you speak to some of the recent activity and actions that the majors neighboring your project over the past years and a few months or year? Absolutely, Will.
I mean, it's important to note that all of our projects have compelling geology next to either existing or brownfield mines that are owned by majors in the Southwest US. But I do want to emphasize that we are laser focused on South Bullfrog. And the reason this district is so interesting is because you have a super major, AngloGold Ashanti, quietly consolidating this entire district. Okay, so AngloGold Ashanti has already spent about $500 million purchasing Corvus for its North Bullfrog and Motherlode deposits, as well as its water license, and recently acquired, in the last couple of months here, acquired the southern block from Coeur Mining, its Crown and Sterling projects. picked up another couple million ounces there. That's really important, to have a super major investing in effectively exploration projects. Okay, and if you look a little bit beneath the surface, you'll see that AngloGold Ashanti is much like us, but I would argue they're a swan on a pond, swimming very quickly and being very quiet about it. In February of this year, they announced an initial inferred resource and a discovery at the Silicon deposit, 3.4 million ounces out there. They've had upwards of 10 rigs on this deposit all year, which to us means there's probably a good probability that there's 5 to 10 million ounces here at Silicon. And following the acquisition of the ground around Merlin, it's well understood that that deposit could be as big, potentially bigger than Silicon. So very quietly, you've got Anglo American, spending nearly $1 billion on M&A, making material multi-million ounce discoveries just 10 kilometers to the east of us. And they've also made commitments to build 2 new mines here at North Bullfrog, and most likely an integrated new mine out here at Silicon Merlin and Motherlode Seahorse. So having a super major doing effectively across the entire Lassonde curve, doing exploration, developing mines, and to be in production in the next 2 years, really emphasizes that this district is, I would argue, beyond emerged now and is very much burgeoning. It's gone from having a couple of non-core oxide deposits and 1 past producing mine down here at Bullfrog to having multi-million ounce, high quality, high margin discoveries in the district, and 4 new mines that will be coming online within the next 2 years. So AngloGold's about a $10 billion company. The next way to get exposure to this district is through Augusta Gold. They're $100 to $200 million company, depending on the day you look. This company has 2 key projects: the old Barrick Bullfrog mine that historically produced over 2 million ounces of gold, and they also bought the Reward mine or the Reward asset off of Waterton earlier this year. That deal has closed, and they've subsequently announced that they plan to be in production here at Reward in the next 18 months and at Bullfrog shortly thereafter. So we're going to have 4 new mines effectively north, south, east, and west of our property position. It has taken us some time to generate our drill targets and get licensed to operate and permits, but we're now in a position to go make what we hope will become the next discovery in the Beatty district. And this is our clear path to value creation. And making a potential discovery here within 5 to 10 kilometers of 4 new mines that are owned by mid-tiers and majors is a very, very clear pathway to value. Because some of these acquisitions are getting done for $100 to $200 per ounce in resource, so there could be very compelling multiples and a clear pathway to a near-term value crystallization following a potential discovery at our project.
Right, that is compelling. We did have another question coming on financing, and you recently announced the close of a financing, and so I was wondering if you could provide a little detail around that. Where your finances are today, and how you expect to allocate the capital across your various projects.
Definitely will. I mean, it's no shock to anyone that it's been challenging raising capital in this current market environment. I'm very proud to say that our original investors have supported ZACAPA through this challenging period of time, and that our board and management team are also following suit. So. Obviously we'd like to have more cash in the bank to do more work here at South Bullfrog, but we have enough cash to get started on our drill program here. We are looking at ways to bring additional capital into the company so that in a non-dilutive manner, so that we can execute on the full program that we have envisioned for South Bullfrog. It's very important to note, I will remind everyone that we staked South Bullfrog during the pandemic. So this project is completely unencumbered. There's no NSR, no royalty to any group here. And that may be one way we could potentially go and look at financing the remainder and future drill programs here at South Bullfrog by working with a royalties company. A good analog in this district is the Silicon discovery. So this project was owned by Renaissance Gold and now Origin and Altius Minerals. There's a 2.5% royalty out here on Silicon, as well as parts of Merlin. So if you look at how a royalties company could create some near-term value here as well, For a couple $1 million, you could, arguably create, 5 to 10x value in the next, 2 to 4 years through a discovery on our project. That's exactly what's happened out here for Origin and Altius. Gone from effectively a grassroots project with a very low entry point to now having a deposit that's arguably worth, $20 to $50 million in value. And when Anglo Gold puts out a new resource update in February, I imagine investors will twig on to the fact that there is a lot of value in the ground there, and that the royalties model is very much intact. So very important to note, Will, that we have some options available to us.
Great, thanks. And some investors here pointed out that your chairman, Ian Slater, has recently increased his position in Zacapa to over 15% of the company. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more why, this is a good entry point for investors. And to this point, recently announced the potential spin out of your copper asset, which looks like it could unlock shareholder value. So maybe you can give us a little more insight into the thinking and what brought this about, and what does it mean for Zacapa shareholders?
Absolutely, Will. I mean, I think this is what attracted me to working with Ian when we were a private company, is his conviction for junior mining and exploration, and certainly the team that he's brought on board and has enabled to go and make a discovery down here in the U.S. I've worked with other mining leaders in this space before that lose conviction at key points, and some of the best gains can be made by having conviction counter-cyclically through cycles. This is a cyclical business. So that's what I've seen Ian doing, and it's great to see his leadership in that regard. He now holds over 15% of the company, and this is precisely what I would expect from a senior leader that's established in this industry like Ian is. So it's great to see. You'll notice that Ian and other board members and myself all participated in the recent financing at 15 cents per share, and haven't sold a single share or executed a single option all year. So if there's any doubt that we're not disappointed with the current share price like our other high conviction shareholders, we're in it with you, and we're grinding through it. In fact, we're doubling down. So that's key to see that strength at what is a very weak point in the market that we believe will improve into the new year.
Great, thanks. And then just getting back to the spin, do you have any thoughts around the timing of potential timing for that?
Thank you for the reminder, Will. Yes, I think it's really important if we're going to create value from a copper spin co to get the timing right. This entity needs to be well funded. It's effectively like IPOing a new company. So we want to make sure we get the timing right. In the current tax loss selling season, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'd expect in the first half of 2023 to see SpinCo come to fruition. It would be good as well to reflect on some feedback from our shareholders. It's important to have high quality advanced projects within our portfolio. So it may be appropriate to have a cornerstone copper asset within the copper SpinCo to really be the value driver. And in the current market environment, there are a number of opportunities presenting themselves, and management teams and vendors that are looking more realistic given the current macro environment. So that's the latest on the copper SpinCo. Will, stay tuned.
Okay, great. And maybe you could just give us a longer term perspective here. Where do you see Zacapa going out, 2, 3, 5 years, and how do you get there?
Thanks, Will. Yeah, I mean, we're an exploration company, right? The model's quite clear and the path is well trodden. We need to go out and make a discovery and prove that discovery up and demonstrate that there's an economic viable resource, and then look to crystallize value in a few different ways, either through partnership or outright sale of a project and discovery to a mid-tier or major. So that's our key focus. You'll notice that the plan that we've presented here is to create consistent drill catalysts from copper and gold projects, including South Bullfrog, Pearl, and Miller Mountain. This is obviously all subject to market conditions, but we are laser focused on generating an interesting discovery at South Bullfrog. And if we can do that, crystallize value in the relative near term with one of the other majors operating in the district, I think that would be a good validation of the work that our team has delivered and is capable of delivering in the future. And we would look to crystallize that value and either pay a dividend and reward our long-term committed shareholders, or leverage some of that cash to go and do the next project. So in the next 3 to 5 years, that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see Zacapa make a significant discovery in the Beatty district, crystallize value, get that technical and commercial validation from the market, and then go do it again.
Great, thanks, Adam. We're running up against time now, but as we wrap this up, could you just remind investors of some of the important upcoming milestones and timing and what we should be watching for?
Absolutely, Will. I think it's very important to note that we are laser focused on South Bullfrog and delivering drill results from that project to demonstrate that there is substantial latent value at that project, and that we do not need to be or should not be valued at $5 million in the public marketplace for much longer. So we're really looking forward to delivering this drill program we have upcoming over the next couple of quarters, and that's what I would encourage investors to look at our stock for, is to get exposure to South Bullfrog, exposure to drill results in that district, and potential value crystallization in the medium to near term. I stand by these pillars that Zacapa is very much an investable company for the following 5 reasons. We do have a very strong board, management and technical team that has consistently delivered and executed on the ground. We have well-aligned long-term shareholders that are supporting our company. We do have a number of well-positioned projects down in the Southwest US. We are laser focused on delivering at South Bullfrog in the near term. We do have a balanced project portfolio of copper and gold projects, of which we plan to create, reflect on our investors' feedback that we should give them pure play exposure to copper or gold. So we'll be spinning out our copper projects in the near term, to give our investors exposure to both copper and gold projects in individual entities. And we're reasonably well funded to execute on the first phase of drilling at South Bullfrog and potentially attract a royalty partner into that project as well, and deliver some very interesting catalysts for investors in the first half of next year.
Great. Well, thanks. That was a very insightful and thorough update. Thanks, Adam. And thanks, everyone, for joining us today on today's webinar. And the recording will be available soon on the company's website. So again, if you have additional questions that have not been addressed on this webinar, please feel free to email us at zacapa@rbmilestone.com. Again, that's zacapa@rbmilestone.com. Thanks again, everybody, and you can now disconnect.